All right, let's do keyboard stuff. As I said in the last video, this can get, it's not more complicated than you think, but there's more layers to it than you think. That there's physical keys and logical keys, which if you're just bidding on SDL, you can use their stuff, but we want to abstract for an OS in the future and like real hardware input. So you have scan codes and what do they call it? And SD, everybody has to deal with this, but they call it scan codes and key codes for physical and logical, respectively. And SDL, everybody has their own naming, but they all kind of revolve around that. And then there's some weird ones that don't swap the names, but use the wrong name for one than the other. We're going to punt on all that because we're not going to have an OS for a while. So we might as well make the system nice and look good, make a note about it, and just do the physical SDL scan codes. And we're not going to be doing massive keyboard input for a while anyway. So it keeps it simple, and we'll use better naming for now. And just a note that we'll probably end up having to use something like scan codes and key codes at some point. But for now, let's just make it more enjoyable for ourselves and make the names better, because scan code isn't very visually appealing right now when you don't need the distinction, I don't think. Alright, that's from our last one still. We might keep using that. So what do we got to do? We got to add the key event. Let's go look at our events real quick. So we have quit and our mouse ones, and the only other one we need to abstract for now, I think, is key. What else? I mean, that's the input. And I feel like it's mostly what I use in any kind of SDL game engine or render or anything I use. So let's just name it key. What else are we going to have? I don't know if this is going to stay like this. This was a fun little experiment, but I don't know if this is really what we want. You can't use these structs anywhere else because they're anonymous anyway. We might have to hoist them out and make them proper, like OS event mouse move T or something like that. But for now, let's just keep going to not slow ourselves down. And what do we need here? In a key, we don't care about X, Y. We could probably just check what SDL gives us, but I do kind of want to match this functionality, because I'm pretty sure they do up and down, and we could just consolidate those events into a key event, not a key up and a key down. And then we'll just mark this, and then we'll need a key. I don't know why I put is press first. I think that the key should, or button or key or whatever, should come first. That seems more important. What do we want? OS, is it just going to be key? I will also change this. We don't have to do it in the same commit. I just want to do it so I remember. I think that's more reasonable. Then we're going to have a giant thing of keys. I guess we can put more than one on a line. I don't know if I want to check what SDL does right away. Let's just do our own thing, and if it gets messy, then we'll go check theirs. So this is where, like, what are we going to name or number? What's the value for each of the keys that we're going to do? And that's where SDL has their own, or sorry, they use the USB spec, I think it is. for their values, but for now we're just going to keep it simple. We can map and always update it later. Sometimes I like to not use, this is an example, if we're going to build a wrapper over SDL, I want to sometimes do some different things than SDL, because it shows that there's an issue. It'll like bleed through, and kind of, instead of hiding the issue, like left, right, middle is 1, 2, 3, but SDL does 1, 2, 3 in a different order. It would just make sure, it just kind of like exercises our code that we're doing the right thing, like our conversion table works and everything. So I like to not use exactly what they have, if that makes sense. So I don't want to type all these out, and I know I could do an Emacs macro here, but there's so many keys. What do we want? Maybe numbers, letters. What do we call mods? Shift control. That one might be its own thing. I think it will. Well, no, maybe it won't. Maybe we'll have to have the key. But I'm pretty sure SDL passes the mods separately, but maybe they can still be keys. I don't know. And then what, like space, tab, backspace, what do you call those? I'm just going to say, not special, but symbol key for like backslash brackets. We're not gonna, I don't think I want to do all these. What if we just do, let's just make our lives easy and do letters and numbers. And I know that I can do some Emacs macro stuff. I don't know if I remember the key codes exactly, but we want to set a counter. Control C to 1. And then we can start a macro. Key. Insert. Nice. I think I wanted an extra space in there. Will that work? Oh, this is, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. It'll just take up way too much space in this file. And we can do something similar for the letters. But I still don't remember that either. You can set the output format like the C print function. Set format, we'll just do it as a character instead of I think it's just by default is %D for digit. But one thing you gotta do different is we gotta set the counter with just ASCII. Okay. Let's try it. Let's put these in half. What's half of the alphabet? M. I guess I could have just searched for that. Oof. What's 13, 7, 6. I don't think you can though, right? 4, yeah, 4 is going to 26. I don't think we can do it. Alright, let's just leave it at that for now. Wait, can't we make that even? 3 more? No. It's fine. Too easy to get caught up in random details. I'm surprised nothing's blowing up for this. We figured out why the other one, enums weren't, exhaustive enums weren't blowing up, but I'm surprised this one isn't. Where's that used at? Oh, no, it is. Oh, maybe the file just hadn't been opened. Key grade. And then what do we need? Yes. I'm going to copy the same thing we did here with down and up, like we said for isPress. Yep. We're going to just return true so we don't forget later. Key is pressed. Where do we use is pressed up there? We do it after the location, but before the button. But that's just because the button's a big block. Let's do is pressed because we do know that'll be easy. Is it state? Is it the exact same? Is the mouse? Okay, so that's a universal, for keys and mouse for them. And then, oh, now we're gonna have to get the key. Key. That doesn't look great, but I know it's minor, but this is our little sandbox, so we want stuff to look good, I think. And other people build apps later and they'd see key.key. I could do key code, but I think this is where I got to in my research, is that so I actually don't mind that, but I think I think this is how I got here in the first place, is key code. Like I was saying, there's physical and logical keys, and the names are typically scan code for physical, key code for logical. Not always, but seems to be a fairly common pattern. And this is kind of represents the physical, but we're using the name of the logical, so I don't want to maybe if we just make a note about it and move on, we don't have to think too hard. Well, let's go look at what it actually looks like. I mean, that feels a lot better. Yeah, see, they've got scan code and key code, and we're setting our scan code to their C code. Sorry, we're setting our key code to their scan code, even though they have something else called a key code, which I don't love, but I think we can just document it for now. This can't be right. To be converted. Can we just... Yeah, this is... I'm just doing that because we need to make a note here. I don't really like putting comments about STL. You know, same with code in a file that's abstracted away, but I think here it's important enough. STL has... I love that wording, but I want to make sure it's scan codes and key codes or similar naming. Hold on, I'm gonna take this call. Sorry. All right, sorry about that. You probably didn't notice. Oh yeah, I'm writing this horrible. This felt bad as I was writing it. Key code represents the physical key, not the logical key. That's how that's the deal. Physical and logical keys. The naming isn't 100% consistent between them, between implementations, but are somewhat similar. SEO calls scan codes. I need both. We have our OS or soon. This is too long, but this is the only like big important thing. It's whatever. We can have a big note. we don't have enough comments as it is. It's better. All right, so let's just get these working. So we need a scan code, right? We've got, or we need, I'm already calling them the wrong thing. All right, so we need a function to convert these, right? We can just return the key. But what if we don't? Oh, we can just, I was going to say, do we need an error handling? But I think that we can always return unknown if we're not sure. And that way we can just have a nice enum return instead of like a return bool in a out parameter, right? It might end up getting more complicated or like requiring more, but I think we'll just start simple as possible. So SDL, we're going to name this explicitly. Well, we know it's SDL. Scan code to OS key code. Oof. Is this too ugly? No, no, it's not. And since we actually have to put, since we can see it's so verbose with the return and input parameter, or the return and this input parameter, we could probably just put scan code to key code. Let's just, I don't know what note we're going to put there. I think there's nothing really to put. So can we get a list of our, we only have certain keys that we're using. Can we get a list of scan codes? I know there is, yeah. Non-scan code, so that's the size we have to support. Yeah, see in here, this is where I originally saw this USB HID stuff, that these numbers, this A is 4, B is 5, came from. But all I wonder if we should do letters first, then numbers like they did. I kind of like us doing numbers first just because numbers are on top on the keyboard, but let's do it different than them. Because of what I said earlier, just it kind of like exercises. So what do we want to do here? Just as, can we do? Static. What was that? No, their max num thing called? Right there. Can we do static const? Expected identifier. What is it? Oh, well, maybe I should give this thing a freaking variable name. Holy cow. Unused. That's good then. this is just temporary. I think we're going to need a little bit more validation here. We don't even have to do that. We can just do table. Because this is going to be sparse because we don't have every single scan code. They got a ton that we don't. I'm going to. I don't. Order or ours? I think I care about our order more. So we don't care about their values. So let's just delete all their stuff. There's a couple ways to do this, but how efficient we want to be here. We want to copy the whole thing. Then we want to put a bracket around it. Then it equals. Then we want to paste theirs. I tried to jump back to equals, but it didn't work. So we're going to go to the beginning line, search for equals, delete word, delete word, delete word, OS key, comma, second word. Nice. It worked. Love when a good macro works. So do we want this inside the function? Is there any value lost in that? Like, should it be? I don't think for functions you, at least from what I understand, you don't even really need to do inline anymore. The compiler's smart enough. But I do know that this function is going to be static because you're not going to use it anywhere outside of here. And it's complaining that it's unused. Oh yeah, we're going to have to forward declare this. Just doing this so we can put up, I'm sure there'll be other ones over time. Static const. I think because it's sparse and because it's static, it's going to zero out. The static will zero out any ones in between, right? Like, because the value of this is what, 30. So 0 to 30, maybe A. All right, so let's say that again. They're not in order. So 0 to 0, 1, 2, 3 are empty. So they're going to return the 0 value. Our key 0 value, I think it should be, is unknown, which is great. So it's always going to return unknown. Is this an enum? Can this be negative? Their 0 is unknown. Oh, it's an enum, so it's an int. So let's just do a couple of certs. I don't know if this is necessary. Do I have to cast it to an I32? I feel like it makes sense to, just to be explicit, because it's, yeah, I'm gonna leave it. Maybe you don't need to cast it, because I know you can do stuff like, this is common, right? Like We're either going to cast them both or neither of them. Let's just cast neither. We can make it blow up by just making this scan code can't be higher than 5 or something and let it explode. So these are assert that and assert that. Ooh. Yeah, so it's going to return unknown for every key that we don't support and every hole in the sparse array. It just feels like there should be something else here. But we've asserted that it's going to be within. No, this maybe we want this to be, because they have an unknown key as well. So we want to support that. Do we want to support that? Or is everything going to, if 0 comes in, if their 0 comes in, it will be missed in our 0, but maybe you want to be explicit. I don't know. Just because like the unknown, I don't know, unknown. Is that going to make all this shift over now? It's actually kind of tidy. I don't really hate any of this so far. At some point, maybe we have to move like the implementation, not the implementation, but the event, the keyboard stuff, the key stuff into a key event key file, a key mouse. But no, it's not even long. What am I talking about? I don't know if this is even gonna have to grow that much because like we're gonna have more keys, but we're not gonna have more mouse functionality, at least for a long time, like that we really care about. And this isn't going to keep growing for all the events in our system. Like Windows system events, those are going to be somewhere else. Like IPC stuff, that's going to be somewhere else. So this is just like OS input events. And I thought about naming it input as well. I might even have talked about it in a previous video about how we're going to kind of split that up. I've been thinking about it. So whatever, let's leave it as is. Let's go to our print function. This should be complaining finally. And so we don't care about that, but we do care about key and pressed. Event key code. Maybe this should print the event type itself. So OS event key. We're going to press the key, and whether it's pressed right, that's fine. And that's going to be like the 0 through how many of the keys we got, because these are just enumerated. Did it work right first try? A is, oh, shouldn't A be, oh no, that's right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm pressing the numbers all the way up to 0. Then A is 11, yeah. C is 30, A, B, C, D, E, and then F down. Oh, see how it keeps showing 1? That's because I'm holding it. Do we, there's, yeah, you always have to deal with this in like game stuff when you're, imagine holding AW, you're going to need state too, like what's down so you can check it fast instead of waiting for events, but holding down like WSAD, you want to know if that's like if it's just being held down or if it's being pressed repeatedly. Let's just add that one last thing before we go. I'm sure SDL. No, yeah, I'm sure. I know I've used it before. Yeah, repeat. Non-zero. If this key is repeat. Is there anything else? No. Non-zero. If repeat. Again, we're gonna get rid of this. This presses repeat. It's repeat if it's non-zero. Right? I think I'm that right way. It's a repeat if it's non-zero, yes. If repeat. I would like this to be better if this, we kind of like made little strings and stuff so we could say true and, you know, wrap integer instead of like ones and zeros. Key is repeat. So holding down F. So what if just for fun for now, I don't think we want to do this. I was going to say, no, I'm not going to do it. I was going to ignore repeated keys for now, but we're going to need them, I'm sure, eventually. So let's just leave it. Okay, well, it works. Let me check the time. It's already been 40 minutes. I think that the mod stuff, because we'll be doing the masking, we got to think about that a little bit. We can save that for the next video because then we can do mod and all like special characters together. It's already been 40 minutes, so let's commit this. We don't need to print anymore, but we do want the support key event. We do. Oh, I've got the Clang format off, so it's not clean in white space. Pretty sloppy comment, but I'm gonna leave it for now. Why does it keep trying to bring in this crap that SDL already has? Yeah. And this is good too. I'm surprised it was so easy. I feel like there should be more error handling, but since everything can fall back to key unknown, let's blow that up actually. You know what we could do? Let's just run a little test. If event key code equals OS key unknown. We're going to run two tests. One, we're just going to print out some unknown keys. We're going to do OS event print events. Again, this is not my normal keyboard. Tons of typos. We're going to print if it's an unknown key. Let's just do that one real quick and get that done. So it's, oh, that's semicolon. That's what's popping up. That's fine. Those are the Mac keys. Mac's catching those keys. So it's kind of hard because since it's all zeros for the code, you can't see them like going by as fast. But I think everything's working as expected. And the other thing I wanted to do, no, I don't think this actually matters. This isn't going to be that useful of a test. We had mentioned dropping this down just to make sure it blew up, but what's the point? Like we know it's going to blow up. Oh, it was to test that the integer was negative or something. I think all this is going to do is assert and fail, right? Yeah. These are ones where it's probably worth having a comment. Negative scan code. Because we want to, if we get it in like a random place or a random bug, all of a sudden it crashes and we don't even know why it crashed, then that'll be annoying. Invalid code. Probably put invalid for both, but this way we can differentiate. Do we have to have a new line in our assert? Yes. No. Did I intend for that to be on two separate lines? I can't even. Yeah, I am already. Let's just keep it consistent for now then. So we don't care about print. We don't want to print here. Everything still looks good. What was our previous commit name? Really unnecessary. Oh, it's a mint key. I think that's worth. Yeah, I think that's worth the extra comment there for OS key because the other ones feel more complete. This is for mouse button. For that issue we were having yesterday. See if we can swap it. See, there's those one commits are a bummer. So we can go in and tweak these, but I'm just going to abort this. pop that off. And I'm just gonna combine it with this one. Okay. I promise I'll show you that later. That will actually work. That we just got into a weird scenario where the commit on top depended on specific order, but a lot of times you can just reorder those and fix ups are super easy. Okay, we'll handle the other stuff next. I think I labeled the videos 1 and 2, or like the thumbnail. I had to commit to how many, like 1/2, like 1 of 2 for event handling. So I shouldn't have to care about that, but all right, we figured out. There.